And there is a Muslim community, and this Muslim community is large, and they need to understand and they need to listen to what is the need of this community, which alhamdulillah was fruitful to lead to this milestone. And I'm going to hand it over to Sister Celine. Sister Celine will basically discuss the what does the Arabic language program in previous students mean, and I will actually conclude at the end because most of the work is actually being led by Sister Celine. Sister Celine, it's all yours now. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome. So just to speak a little bit about who I am, my name is Sister Celine Al-Ali. I am a Bellevue School District employee, but also a community member. So a little bit about me, I've been in Bellevue School District for 10 years in a large capacity. I have taught grades all the way from preschool all the way to 5th grade in the school district. I have a master's in educational leadership. I have a special education degree as well as a general education degree. And I'm also have a principal certificate because I'm currently the assistant principal in Newport Heights Elementary in Bellevue. This is my second year. Aside from my Bellevue School District affiliations, I was also the principal of Noor Weekend Academy for 4 years. That's located in MAPS. So I'm very well aware of our community and our community needs, but also building a bridge with the Bellevue School District as a Muslima within this opportunity of what this Arabic language program in Bellevue means. So first I wanted to start with the why. Like, why is Bellevue doing this now? And just like Brother Adil said, there's been conversations in the past with Hamad Beckett, and he can share a little bit more about that at some point today. But why now? Some of you might know that the Bellevue School District, buying or purchasing a house in Bellevue is extremely expensive, and enrollment numbers for students within Bellevue School District has been decreasing year after year after year. And we're at a point where the schools have decreased such a big amount that they're looking at, not having funding for a lot of teachers and a lot of programs. And so one of the things that brought an opportunity was the fact that a lot of our Muslim community is missing an Arabic program that is a public school. And so the Bellevue School District wants to be able to bring that program to benefit the community, but also to benefit the enrollment numbers within the school district. Because every single child, the district gets a certain amount of money for to be able to build and create opportunities for students within the schools. So that's one aspect of the why behind opening an Arabic school program. Another is for this hope and future and vision within Bellevue about global competency. Global competency is about really inclusion and bringing in a sense of belonging of all community members that are part of the Bellevue School District. And what's great about what this opportunity brings is that they're opening it for more than just those who live in Bellevue. They're opening this opportunity for students all around the King County area and beyond that would like to join and be part of this school. The school program is going to be not just an elementary school, but go beyond into middle school and high school. And I will explain a little bit more about what that might look like and what that might mean. But I wanted to just start with why were we even here and why now? So one big point I wanted to make is this idea about the Arabic school program versus an Islamic school. So something that's extremely vital to understand is that this is going to be a public school just like any other public school within Bellevue School District, with the addition of an extra learning, which is the Arabic language. So that differs from a private school, which is what an Islamic school would contain. An Islamic school would be private. It would be typically much smaller than a public school. It has the Islamic environment. Usually the community is funding majority of the Islamic school, and it has an independent board that makes the decisions around how the school functions, what kind of activities it gets involved in there, the curriculum that is being used, etc. Whereas this Arabic school program, when we're talking about the school itself, it is a public school just like any school in the Bellevue School District. It does not have any affiliation or cannot have any additional interest within any type of religion. So Islam will not be covered, or Islamic practices would not be covered within this school. It's again a public school that only has the addition of the Arabic language. The Arabic school would have certificated staff where there's all the way from administration down to the principals would have teaching degrees and degrees that would allow them to work within the school. Bellevue School District resources would be part of this school, which is like special education, multilingual learning programs, speech and language, OT, PT, physical therapy, occupational therapy, different kinds of differentiation, advanced learning, things like that, that the school district provides for all schools. Of course, again, it being a public school, it gets public funding, which is from the state. And with that, the state has rules and regulations that allows and doesn't allow specific things within policies. And obviously the law of separating church from state is part of that, which is why Islam and the Islamic environment would not be part of this school, just the Arabic language itself. And then the district level curriculum that would be part of it, it's bigger than just like us picking the curriculum, aside from the opportunity of picking the curriculum of the Arabic language curriculum that would be taught. But like the math curriculum, the reading, the writing, the science, those are all already provided and picked and taught within the Bellevue School District school system, and that is going to be the same within this school as well. What is really great about this Arabic school program is some of the additional benefits that it will bring for our community. So, for example, what we can do is have after-school programs and use different community programs to be able to actually provide that Islamic sense, but it would be outside of the school time. So, for example, one of the thoughts and ideas that came about while we were in these meetings was having an after-school program that we're connected to. Could be part of the mosque, could be a program that teaches Islamic studies, it could be teaching Quran, and one idea is having a bus that buses those specific students interested in that to go to these programs, whether it's the mosque or these specific programs, to be able to learn in addition to the Arabic that they learned in school. So kind of molding those things. And again, it would be an after-school program, so it wouldn't be connected to the school itself. And that would be by law okay. The other opportunity is being able to use the school on weekends for different religious opportunities, for different ideas. We would rent it out, and that could also be okay. There's a school in the district that does exactly that. So that's an opportunity that we would be able to have in a sense, because we have that affiliation with the community, because this is where it's all kind of starting. The other benefit is culture and climate of the school. I mean, those who would be interested in coming to a school to learn Arabic could be anyone of any faith, any background, and any culture. But who is made up of the school can really play with what is the events that we provide, what kind of stories we want to share, what kind of culture and climate we really want to bring within the school itself. And then the third benefit is the community involvement. I mean, our Muslim community, mashallah, is large and has a lot of opportunity to be able to be involved within the school and the community at large, to be able to build bridges and open doors and opportunities and many factors. So there's additional benefits to having an Arabic school program within Bellevue School District, even though it's not an Islamic school. So give you a little bit about what to expect on Wednesday, October 26th. So the format is going to be pretty simple. We're going to everyone would be going to Wilburton Elementary. There's going to be an opportunity where it'll be like 10 to 15 minutes of myself and some other district leaders talking about what the intent is today, what the vision is, which is similar to what we're doing today. And then we will talk about the 3 different spaces that people can go to. One space will be the opportunity where people who have elementary school kids, they would go to this session where they would talk about the elementary school itself and provide all the input they have within that sector of the idea of the Arabic program. If you have middle school or high school kids, there would be another room that you would go to that you could actually be talking about middle school and high school. And then there would be a third room if you have kids in both elementary or middle school and high school. Those of you that involves would go to that room and be able to share ideas for both. This is a opportunity where everyone is sitting kind of at tables in groups. There'll be large pieces of paper and markers, and you literally write and share your hopes and dreams. What do you want to see? What do you wish for? What can you do? And you write anything that you really want. You can write it in any language. We'll translate it and we'll figure it out from there. But feel free to do what comes to your mind and what's best for you and your family and what you want to see if you really truly want to put your child in this school. There will be opportunities to talk about like an Arabic program within the middle school and high school, and virtual opportunities that will also be available that they're talking about creating for the middle school and high school as well. So it's really a free-for-all for all families and all people in the community to really just share their hopes and dreams. For example, one of the things that they're going to want to know is the amount of Arabic taught in the schools. Do you want a 50-50 model where you have 50% of the day is in Arabic and then 50% of the day is in English? Another example could be 80-20, where 80% is in Arabic and 20% is in English. And they have 2 different schools within Bellevue that already do this, one in Mandarin and one in Spanish. So we in Bellevue have actually 2 schools that have created this model, just obviously not in Arabic. Another idea is around specialists. One thing that the district and I have talked about is music, for example. Changing music specialists to something different that could be more Islamically aligned would also be something that we could do. Art classes could be focused on Islamic art and different types of art history within the cultures and ideas around the Middle East and different parts of the world. So things can adjust. You have the opportunity to kind of just put it all out on the table and what you would hope to see. And then again, like what you would want to see if you wanted some after school programs, if you wanted an opportunity to have your kids go and be bused to a different community center that has Quran or Islamic studies. How often do you want that to happen? What could that look like? So those are just some ideas and some thoughts as you're going in, if you're going to attend this Wednesday meeting, to be able to really kind of think about all the ideas and things that you would want to share on those pieces of paper. After that meeting, the plan is for the steering committee, which is the committee that I'm on that's kind of planning and thinking about this school. it's where we would take all of those ideas and all those pieces of paper and we'd kind of align them to kind of figure out, okay, a lot of people are saying they want this. A lot of people are saying they want this. Only a few people are saying this. And we look at what is what Bellevue School District can really have and create and have the funds to do. And we would then present that back to the community at a separate meeting and say, we've taken all of your community ideas, and here's what we can do to make this a reality. The important thing here is that this is a first meeting ever for something like this to happen. So we're kind of figuring out where this is going to go. Could the school be a standalone school next year if we have the numbers? We don't know that yet. Or it could also be where we have numbers that actually just are enough for like 2, 3, 4 classes versus a kinder to 5th grade. And we would open a small section within a pre-existing school to build upon this school within 5 years. So there's still a lot of unknowns going into this, but inshallah, this is an opportunity to ask a lot of questions, to share your thoughts, and have a platform to feel safe to be able to share those questions and answers prior to going to the meeting and knowing what you want to share or thinking about what you want to share. And now I'm going to give it back to Brother Adil.
Jazakumullah khairan, and for the great information and for sharing this with us. My name is Adil Yusuf. I am just a community member. I've been in the East Bay area or Seattle area for the last 6 years. I have 4 daughters, and the 2 daughters actually are in Medina Academy, and one of them is actually in homeschool. I'm going to discuss with you plan for Wednesday meeting. So basically, I think Sister Sadine did a great job actually explaining. We will open the floor for question and answering, but I want to share a word, like, what is this dream? What are we doing about? Like, what are the aspects? What could be some recommendations? What could be some dreams that we all think about it? So next slide, please. Okay. So I'll start sharing with you some recommended acts to the Bellevue School District that we can all ask for, inshallah, on Wednesday. The first thing is that, okay, the school, as Sister Sadine said, is still a dream. It's a wish. Okay, how is going to happen? When is going to happen? What's the execution? It will be happening in the next months. But we will need some engagement from our community, which is you, in order to work with the Bellevue School District to make sure our demands or our dreams are met. So we will need to form a steering committee from the community members. And this steering committee will be actually the point of contact representing the community interest into the new Arabic program in the school. The expectation from the steering committee to be holding meetings, discussing with the community, but it will be representing the community. So it comes without saying it will be elected from the community. But we'll be looking for the following, that the members should not have any affiliation with the Bellevue School District. So basically, they are representing the community with no pressure from the school districts. They prefer to be involved in teaching or academia, so they know what are we talking about, and they know how to represent this to the Bellevue School District. Or they could be also running current school efforts similar to Islamic schools or in other Islamic schools in the area, or leaders in the community. Most importantly, they have the interest in this project to be successful. They have the passion. And because of this passion and this interest, they are willing to commit time and effectively participate and contribute towards the success of this project. That is a key point. If you don't have the passion and the interest, I don't think we are going to be successful. So it's all about us. It's all about our community and getting this, basically, our voice here from the Bellevue School District. Next slide, please. So a couple of the things that the community should have, the steering committee actually would like to ask the steering committee to have the following privilege. I think all of you will have some concern about what is this Arabic curriculum, how it's basically impacting us, what will be there. So we need to make sure that the steering committee representing us is evaluating and selecting the Arabic language curriculum. What is there? What is this curriculum? So this is an important aspect. Another aspect is that they should be participating in the interview and the final approval of the teachers teaching in this school. Then, as of course, as Arabs, Christians or Muslims, we have specific cultures when it comes to food, which is halal food. So we want to make sure that we are providing food options that is matching the Arabic culture of halal food. Then this is not just the exhaustive list. This is just some recommendations that we need to ask for it in order to address your concerns. But as Sister Salim mentioned clearly, it's our school. So each one may have a different perspective. We discussed after school program. We discussed having the music, changing the music to something more interesting, or arts, how to reshape it to be something that is relevant to us. It's all up to us to decide. I think the main important thing is that you should be joining the meeting on Wednesday. You should be coming to the meeting to make sure that your voice is heard, your idea is discussed, because without this is not going to be successful. Next slide. So I want to leave you with this recommendation. We need to have a steering committee, and we need to ask for this. And we also need to make sure that the steering committee has some privilege about the curriculum, the Arabic curriculum, what is the use, how we select it, and also which teachers are teaching in this school. Next slide. And I want to remind all of you that alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Literally, without all of you joining the meeting and sharing your perspective, that's an opportunity, okay? But this is not opportunity for only the Arabic community. The Bellevue School District, as Sister Sadim mentioned, they were reaching to other communities. We are just one of the communities, okay? So we need to make sure that our voice are there. We are represented. And this will not happen unless all of you show on the Wednesday meeting to share your ideas and your thoughts. And what do you think of this Arabic school in the future? I finally basically want to remind you there is a WhatsApp group in order to keep in touch. So I am sharing the QR code. We'll keep this screen presented here so you can all take this screenshot and join the group. It is very important to join the group so you can reach out to you in the future and inform you. And this will be the same channel used for the steering community, inshallah, and for doing election for the committee. And make sure also that don't forget us in your dua. May Allah bless this effort and make sincere dua, because we all need this environment, inshallah. Before opening the floor for question and answer, I wanted to make sure that you see some discussion, like how we reach this point. And we discussed this before the meeting. We mentioned Sister Brother Muhammad Bakr and his work in the charter school. And some of you heard about it. I want to give him the opportunity to discuss in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, basically, what was the history behind this and how we reached this point. So Brother Muhammad, please take it from there. And we'll open the floor to questions and answer in 3 minutes, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan, Brother Adil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Bakr. I'm the founder of Tertili School, the Muslim parent group in Bellevue, and MCNA, the Muslim Community Network Association, and also the founder for the charter school in Bellevue that started the process on 2018 and submitted the application 2020 to open a charter school in Bellevue. So the charter school program was a big program that we've been working with many community members, more than 300 people involved to open the school. And the idea was involving the Bellevue School District. So we had many people as the executive director, the superintendent, the Bellevue School District, working with us to see how can we work together using the charter school and provide the Arabic language for the community. And from that, we have been showing the Bellevue School District the data of how many Muslims and how many people may be interested in the Arabic language. And that after that, I started the talk with Dr. Jarvis, the superintendent, for about 1 year. We've been talking about how can we provide an Arabic language inside the Bellevue School Districts. With that work, with many, Dr. Jarvis have many experience with different schools, and I've been trying to explore different options. And at the end, we said, okay, we're providing in Tertili school a dual language, and that's only for Islamic, but we want to do something for, for non-Islamic studies. That's why we said, how can we partner with the Bellevue School District to provide an Arabic language program that is not related to Islam, is not connected to Muslims, that can be provided to anyone. So Dr. Jarvis liked the idea, and we met many times. And at the end, he invited the assistant principal, Kelly, who was really passionate about the program. We shared the proposal and the idea and the numbers and the data with him. And they made a decision, okay, let's start with this program and see how can we do it. And that was on August 2022, which is about 1 month and a half from today. That's where we had those meetings. And after that, in those meetings, they didn't know like they have our teachers. And I remember Brother Muhammad Yusuf was in the meeting, suggested the names of Imam Salam and different, and Kelly mentioned Sadine, which he said that the only Muslim assistant principal. And we made an agreement that to start the planning committee to start this school, which is really a great resource. And I'm really happy that we have a Muslim sister in the district, an administrator that can help us in achieving that dream to provide an Arabic school. So that's a history that led, which started like almost 11 years from when we started the Muslim parent group. And that's an encouragement for anyone in your district. Try to start some small organization and some effort that can lead to such a great work that's happening now and led by Sister Sadine. And that's the history. I will give it back to Brother Adil.
Jazakumullah khair, Muhammad, and for your hard work and for getting us to this important milestone. And actually, there are two names that has been mentioned, and I wanted to conclude with this. There are two hidden angels, I'm not going to say soldiers, that has been executing in the background. You may see the names, but you didn't know really they have been driving this hard work. Sister Iman Salam and Sister Sumaya Salam, Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah put all this effort for all of you, Sister Sadine and Sister Brother Muhammad and Sister Iman, Sister Sumaya, and all the youth from Tamkeen. May Allah make this all effort in your scale of good deeds, inshallah, on the day of judgment. As promised, now we'll open the floor for question and answers. I just want to remind you that there is a QR code on the screen. Please use it to join the group if you have not done this already. We are opening the floor to questions. I think I see a question in the chat. I'll start with this, but then please raise your hand so we can open the floor for questions. So first question in the chat: when is the school expected to open if approved? Sister Sadine, can you comment on this?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. The plan is, inshallah, to actually open this starting next school year. So again, the format and how that will look like might be different. If we have the numbers that are large enough for enrollment to actually have a standalone school, it will be a standalone school starting next year. But if we don't have the numbers, and we have numbers enough to do a couple classrooms, we will open up next year a couple classrooms within a pre-existing school and slowly build it within the next few years, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan. Sister Yumna, you have a question? Please don't forget to put down your hand after asking the question. Go ahead, please. Sister Yumna?
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I came in a little bit late to the meeting, so I'm sorry if this was already mentioned. I have a couple of questions. So first of all, like it sounds to me, is there like a school, a building that's practically waiting for a school to come in? It seems, is that what so Bellevue has some sort of plan to open to dedicate a certain school to an immersion program, and they're reaching out to the different communities? This is the first question.
Sister Yumna, we don't see. I don't hear your voice now. Is it only me or everyone? Can you hear her?
I don't hear it.
I think the question was about. She's back. Go ahead, Sister Yumna. Your voice is breaking. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the question before you disconnect. Basically,
am I off? Is regarding.
You're back now. Can you please repeat the question again, because your voice was breaking?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, inshallah.
Okay, sorry. So I was asking, the third question I was asking is like, I come from Canada, so I'm not sure how it is in the United States, but some of the things that happened before when we had Arabic immersion programs was the politics. Like, how do you protect the school from the politics if we get like a government and they want to impose certain curriculums on the schools? If you're getting government funds, they're not free, like, right? Government dollars have strings attached. So how would we protect that school from this and keep this going? Like, I like the idea of the steering committee, but that's in the beginning. Would that continue? Would there always be community involvement? How would it work?
Those are two fantastic questions. So the first question, if I remember correctly, is there already a building available? And I can answer that there. So again, because we don't know how this is going to look yet, because we're still in the planning phases, if we were to open a couple classrooms, we absolutely have the buildings, because it would be within a pre-existing school that's already in the district. So for example, if they were to choose Wilburton Elementary, which is the school that we're going to be having this meeting in on Wednesday, they would, because the schools are getting, the number of students are getting smaller, there is extra classrooms and space in the school itself, and we would take like a wing or those classrooms and we would start from there. If it were to be the case where we have large enough enrollment numbers where we can actually have a standalone school, there hasn't been any discussion about what building that would be or anything yet, because we're not at that point. But at that point, that would be the next step, is figuring out what kind of building could we use. Could we use a pre-existing building? But I couldn't tell you exactly what that answer is, because we honestly don't know yet. For your second question, which was about the politics and government funds, that is what I shared kind of at the very beginning, which is what we were talking about, making that this is not an Islamic school, and it does not have Islamic affiliations with it. And so it is still a public school that involves all of the public policies and rules and regulations that the state recommends and essentially expects for the funding. But at the same time, there are things that we can shift and change within the climate and culture of the school that would be applicable, including these after-school programs. And the community will always be able to be part of this school. We will have a PTA, where Parent-Teacher Association, where families and parents could be part of, and they would work with the schools, the specific school, to continue that vision and expectations. But again, there are things that public schools can only do because it is a public school getting funds from the government.
Jazakallah khairan, Sister Sadine. Taking a couple of questions from the chat before going back to the people who are raising their hands. A question: how about the other areas that we live far away? Where is the school going to be? I think Sister Sadine highlighted this. Do you have to be part of Bellevue School District? I think this is part of Bellevue School District, and they have to be as part of Bellevue School District. So I think we answered this question. So I'm going to skip this. I'm assuming it has been answered. How are people outside of Bellevue be able to attend? I think the answer to this is that, as you see, Brother Muhammad was talking about, it's all about the community. If we start doing the same effort for other school districts, inshallah, it will happen. And if we are successful in Bellevue School District, this would be a good case study that we can leverage in other school districts, inshallah. So even if, go ahead, Sister.
I would just add as well, because we're not there yet, if you are outside of school district, you can also attend school. It's open to anyone who would like to. Now, how you would get there, that would be, that could go up in multiple ways. If we had community funds to bus, we can purchase a bus and a bus driver to be able to do that. That takes a lot of money. But the other option, of course, could be working within the people in your community where you live and having a carpool and things like that.
Another question, do you have staffing for this? Are you planning to have kindergarten through sixth grade?
That's a great question as well. So staffing is something that we'll be working on. It again depends on how this is going to look. So for example, two of the teachers who are part of this committee that were shouted out by Brother Adil is Iman and Sumaya Salim, and they are both teachers within the school district, and they are eager to be part of this if this were to open. So that is one opportunity. Is we are going to reach out to those who are around us who have teaching certificates who could do this, as well as those who are teaching in other programs but don't have teaching certificates. The Bellevue School District wants to help those people actually get their teaching certificate and help pay for that so that we can have the staffing that we would want for this to happen as we're growing. And then from there, we see what we can do in terms of the staffing itself.
Related to this, I was wondering how a certified teacher can apply to teach at this school.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're not there yet, but I once it really happens, I think there'll be different changes. Typically, there's a Bellevue School District website that you would apply to work in Bellevue. For this specific school, I think there'll be postings that are going to be specified that this is going to be for the Arabic school itself. And then you would apply specifically to that. And once we're at that stage, there'll be lots of opportunities and learnings where we'll probably hold for the community to learn more about that. So stay tuned for that. That will be more to come.
A couple of related questions regarding the Wednesday meeting. Is it their option to have a Zoom remote option or it's just in person?
Currently, it's just in person because we really want to see numbers come in and we also want to see ideas. But there is an opportunity there's a form on the PDF that's been going around where you can actually, if you can't be there, you can actually type the ideas and information that you want and an email address to stay in contact so that we can inform you and continue to inform you as more things start to happen down the road.
Okay, taking a question from the audience, Sister Anna Shaheen, please speak up.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you please hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. I have a couple of questions. Number one question is that, to my understanding from the session, Sister Sabine just educated us, that this will be a public school, but only Arabic language is going to be included in the program. Okay. So my question is, and she actually told it could be a 80-20% or 50-50. So my question is, and particularly it is for middle schoolers and high schoolers, how it will going to happen with students who have to set their future or their career. They are building up their career in that. So what would be the curriculum and how this program is going to balance with other things? For example, if there is any elective, how Arabic language is going to be included into that thing, or how it is going to happen, especially I'm asking in terms of high schoolers, if this program happens. And number two, okay.
No, go ahead. Say your second question. Sorry.
Yeah. A little bit detail actually I want about middle and high school. Number two question is that, and actually, will there be any preference if the student lives in BSD versus who are not in the BSD but they want to enter into the school? Like how on admin level on getting enrollment into the school is going to happen if the person does not live in BSD, or because there are, once the number of students, once the number of seats get filled up, the school for that class, it closes. There will be no more registrations taken up. So how the students from outside BSD can get into this school?
Jazakallah khair for both your questions. They're both great questions. So the 80-20 or the 50-50 or that kind of build of the dual language program for Arabic school would majority of the time actually be specifically for elementary because they're in the school in one classroom the whole entire day. So the ability to do that is more likely within the elementary school. For the middle school and high school, it would typically be a class. It would be like it could look like an hour or an hour and a half Arabic like elective class, kind of like you would take French or you would take a different language that you would be able to have your children in. That's one idea that was brought up. Another idea was this virtual program to have the virtual program be kind of similar in that sense. So that's why if you have middle school and high school students, really having your voice be at that meeting is going to be really important because you can share ideas and thoughts, and there will be people in the district who can kind of drive that a little bit more. I've never actually taught middle school or high school, so I'm not as familiar with how that could really look like. But coming to the meeting and asking that kind of question and kind of sharing ideas around that, that's going to be really, really vital for your voice to be heard around that. In terms of the number of students enrollment with the Bellevue School District preference versus outside, so because it's a Bellevue School District school, we have to give priority to Bellevue students that are living in Bellevue first. But what I can say is we have space. So even if you are outside of Bellevue, that enrollment number won't exclude you because we have the room. And the more we have, that won't be a problem is what I'm essentially saying.
Okay, so to my understanding, Arabic, this for high schoolers and middle schoolers, this Arabic program will be just like an elective they take in middle school as Spanish or Japanese or Chinese that they are offering. Okay, and and how this school will meet the other academic criteria, because yes, there is a difference in certain high schools in is going to balance, like are you going to pick up the space or the level of that school, how is going to be maintained? Any idea about that? I'm talking about high schoolers.
I think you've been going in and out, so I don't know if I caught your whole entire question. But yeah, I don't know if I understand what you're specifically asking, to be honest, in terms of the level of.
In terms of like there are different high schools in Bellevue School District, right?
Correct.
So this is going to take up, since it's a public school, so it is going to take up the curriculum like any other high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is also a difference in the environment in every high school you visit. If you go to Newport High School, it's a different. If you go to Sammamish High School, it's a different one. Both of them are in Bellevue School District, actually. Mm-hmm. I know this. So, all the staff and everything will match both of them, or it will be something in between, or what?
That's a great question. I honestly don't know the answer to that. And I don't know if, the steering committee has even thought that far yet in terms of how that would look like. So that's why I say, inshallah, if you can come to that meeting on Wednesday and share thoughts and ideas, then we can really run with that for especially those who are focusing on the middle school and high school experience around Arabic.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Sadine. I'll try my best to come on Wednesday, inshallah.
Inshallah, Jazakallah khairan. Question regarding funding. Do we have funding planned, and for how many years?
What I do know is that the Bellevue School District was able to get a grant through the state OSPI. I don't know exactly the amount of years. I don't know how much it actually was. So I honestly don't know the actual answer to that question. But the hope is that with a higher enrollment and numbers of students joining this, the state automatically provides money for every single head of child that will be able to grow this over time. And if it's successful, because the vision of Bellevue School District is to really grow these types of programs, to include so many people of different communities and voices and have that sense of belonging for families and students. I can see that growing very quickly, especially with the OSPI state kind of looking at the success of it and funding more within it. So it really starts with us.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Celine. I think it has been emphasized multiple times about us, the community, and the importance that you join the meeting on Wednesday to make sure we understand what the community needs, because we're just facilitating this for us. Question regarding LGBTQ and comprehensive sexual education. Will the students be protected from LGBTQ policies and comprehensive sexual education, or the school will have similar regulations like all other public schools?
Okay, so let's open this up here. All right, so when it comes to the LGBTQ community, just like any public affiliation, whether it's a job, whether it's a school, no matter what, there is a non-discrimination policy. And so we cannot discriminate against sex, religion, sexual orientation, race, physical ability, etc. So regardless of what school you go to in terms of Bellevue School District or any public school, that's going to be present. Now, that does not mean that we are educating our students or saying anything specifically about that group of people. It's just about we invite and include anyone who is a human being that is it's a public school. In terms of sex education, now I'm going to speak specifically to the elementary school setting within this. I've taught the sex ed flash curriculum because I used to teach 5th grade. And there's just like any Bellevue School District school, teachers give parents the information prior to teaching this, and parents have the opportunity to sign their child out to not be part of those classes. It's usually at 2 weeks, and it's only one specific lesson that talks about sex. And it's very, like at the 5th grade level, it's very scientific, and it's honestly, it's really like very basic. There's nothing, in my opinion, that is inappropriate. However, at the same time, as a parent, you are free to decide what you want to do for your child and what they learn when it comes to this. And so you can sign your child out, and they do not have to be part of that learning at all. So that would be, even in this Arabic school, that would still be something that we would have to provide as 5th graders, to provide the flash curriculum. But again, parents have the right to defer that for their child. And that's in the case of any school.
I want to add what Sister Sadine said, and she highlighted this in her presentation, the environment and the culture. It's very important today. If you ask me, you will see Muslim students are scattered across different schools. Having the Muslim students in concentrated public school, this guarantees the environment and help us to, as the PTA will be coming from these Muslim families, so it will start applying the culture. Okay, so it's all, again, I think it's all about us. I hope to emphasize this again. We have an opportunity to do this, inshallah. Another question, Sister Sadine, maybe early, but any ideas what Arabic curriculum the potential school will adapt? who provides it, who decides. I think the last part is basically who decides in the curriculum. This was in the presentation, but if you can touch on this as well.
Yeah, no problem. So we don't have a curriculum yet. This would be actually the best opportunity for people who have, we're going to look at research-based Arabic language curriculum programs, and we would look at those. And that's why having the community, maybe having people from the steering committee that are from the community look at this and really look at what it contains. One idea that I know is there are other schools that are that also have Arabic as a dual language program that is in different states. I think there are 5 in the whole entire country, and one of them is in Texas. And so the idea is also to reach out to those schools and see what curriculum do they use and how do they teach it, and kind of bring all those options together and see which one is going to fit our school, our community, the Bellevue School District. And so there's nothing yet. But that is something that we want to make sure we ask for to be able to be part of that discussion. And, the steering committee really picking the curriculum that will be teaching the Arabic language.
Thank you. Now, a question from the audience. I see Amra iPhone, raising hand. If you can speak up, please.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. I wanted to get more clearance on the 50-50 of teaching Arabic or 20-80. What does it mean? Does it mean that the math or the science or something like that will be taught in Arabic? Is it going to be like the language that the school being utilized in the school to speak to students, or is it going to be just there is an Arabic curriculum as a different subject, an elective, and that's it?
Good question, brother. So let me tell you kind of what it looks like in the dual programs currently. So 50-50 or an 80-20 means that in the first, if you look at kindergarten through 5th grade, kindergarten, first and second graders actually learn everything for the most part in that language. So if we were going to talk about Arabic, that kindergarten, first and second graders, they would learn, let's say the school goes with the 80-20 model, 80% of everything will be in Arabic, math, reading, writing, the Arabic language itself, right? And then as they get older into 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, they start decreasing those numbers from the 80-20 to more of like a 50-50, and then a 20-80 where it's majority English, so that as they're going into middle school and high school, the English is still also being part of their education, especially when it comes to state testing, because state testing is in English. And that's when they start it, is in 3rd grade. And so typically that's what it would look like. So they've had models where it's a 50-50, where 50% is in that specific language and 50% of the day is in English. And then they've had the 80-20, where 80% of the day is in that language, and then 20% is in English, and then it decreases over time.
Couple of questions. It's actually not related to the school, but it's now because you raised important points. It's interesting for the community. They are the same, but basically is signing out the comprehensive sexual education classes a right for the parents in any public school?
Yes.
Because we were also told that this is not applicable. Related to this, how would handling public school laws in general that interferes with the Islamic religion be handled? Is it about opting out, or basically there is other things?
Okay, so in terms of the FLASH curriculum, which is the one that's focusing on health and its family life and sexual health, that's what FLASH stands for, that you can opt out in at any school, at any public school in any district, including Bellevue School District, and I've had students in my own class do that. In terms of the Islamic question. Can you repeat that, Brother Adil?
How would handling public school laws that interfere with Islamic religion be handled? Like in general, not just for compliance sexual education. What if we have a public school law that is interfering with the Islamic law? Is it basically opt out, or how does this work in general?
I guess it would be situational. I'm not quite sure what that could really mean and what that could really look like. But for example, what I can say is, like when I was working at Phantom Lake Elementary, we had students who did not attend music class because that was something that they did not want religiously, right? And that was completely okay. So they opted out of the music class that was offered in the public school, and they went to the library or went and read a book or did a different project. And those students just didn't go to that because that family didn't want their child to do that. And those are things that can happen and can be accommodated for all the time within Bellevue School District. In my experience, but it's again situational. Like we can't just exclude a human being because we personally don't believe that that human being and their actions should be okay. So there's boundaries and there's exceptions. So it's situational.
Brother Tariq question, why not partnering with local Muslim schools like Medina Academy and Tartila School?
And I think we should partner with them, absolutely. Partnering with them is going to be the key to be able to do these after-school programs. And that's why we want to open something like this up and have so many voices from the community and be part of this and have this opportunity to open this opportunity to actually bring more awareness and more attendance to those kinds of schools as well, even if it might not look at the same capacity as a public school, but could provide something additional after school.
Question, I think some audience joined late, so a question is repeated. Will the program be in Bellevue Public School or some specified school? And I think also related to this, if it's far away, how we're going to transport, I'm going to summarize quickly. Program will be in Bellevue Public Schools, but it's open for other schools because we have capacity to enroll other students from other areas. And if there is a majority from certain areas, there could be bus for this, but it comes at a cost. That's a summary that Sister Sadine shared with us before. Then question about what is the plan or vision to hire enough certified teachers to teach this Arabic curriculum? Specifically, if we're talking about 80-20 or 50-50. So do you have enough certified teacher? And if not, will they allow non-certified teacher to teach to help applying this or make this happen?
In terms of the number of who we have, I have no idea yet because we haven't opened that up yet. But inshallah, we have at least a few. There are also opportunities that we've talked about within our steering committee of people who teach at the college level that teach Arabic and seeing if they can come in for part of the day and things like that. So there's ways that we've talked about some of this, but nothing has been officially discussed because we're not at that point yet. With the non-certificated question, we cannot, as a public school, have anyone who does not have a teaching certificate teach or be in a room with students alone without that certificate. It's down to even with the pandemic, we weren't allowed to do that despite anything. So no, we can't. We cannot hire those people as teachers. We can absolutely hire them as paraeducators, as general school assistants and things like that to be able to help in that capacity. And then at the same time, Bellevue School District wants to fund and help fund those people to get their certificate so that they can then become a teacher and be able to do the job that they've been wanting to do. But again, we can't do that without the certificate officially. And then we'll, inshallah, try to qualify more and more people who have an interest in that.
Question regarding the WhatsApp group. Basically, the group is blocked by admins, and how we can ask questions over the group.
We can unblock that. That's an easy one.
It's easy, inshallah. Okay. Question. Can you please explain the differences between the old sexual education to specific grades, like the 5th grades, and the new sex education that cover all grades from KG to 12th grade?
So
you mentioned only the old one.
5th grade is the only grade that has the flash curriculum. No other grade talks about it or brings it up or even has anything to do with it. When I specifically was talking about elementary, I was specifically talking to 5th grade because I've also taught it. I've taught all those grades actually. But that is specific by law that we have to provide that as kids are going into middle school. But I will say the curriculum majority of it talks about like making friends and saying no and drugs and alcohol and smoking. It's really majority of it is that, with one lesson in regards to sex education. In terms of middle school and high school, they do have health classes and things like that that are required for those grade levels. I think it's usually 10th grade where they have a health class where they do talk about sex ed. But I haven't been in high school in a very long time, so I don't know what that specifically looks like now. But when I was in high school, that was something that was talked about.
I see many questions coming regarding the same topic. I think I want to highlight that Brother Muhammad Bakr is planning to have a specific session discussing this comprehensive sexual education. So since it's not related, I'm not going to spend more time. I appreciate Sister Sadine's effort to explain it, answer the question, but inshallah, Brother Muhammad Bakr is planning to have a different session for discussing this. I don't see any other questions on the chat, or I don't see any raised hands. Any last minute question before we conclude, inshallah? Okay, one question. Will the curriculum follow the students' individual levels? For instance, if the student is first but a beginner, how is this going to be a fit for this program?
That's a great question. So we're thinking in terms of how we're going to start this. That's something that has been brought up by us about how do we roll up the language. So the idea right now that's on the table, and again, that's why coming to this meeting is going to be so important, because you can share your thoughts and ideas of how this could work and what could it look like. But the idea is to really start with that kindergarten class and providing majority of the Arabic. And then that group kind of rolls up, whereas the first graders, second graders, third grade classes would be a little bit different to start as they're growing their beginning Arabic language learning, and then rolling it up year after year after year with more intensity. But just like any language that we learn, when you're immersed in it in the day with 80% of your day, students really pick up a lot very, very quickly. And so there's studies and research that shows all of this. And that's so that's going to be part of the thinking and the planning around it. I can't give you a for sure this is exactly what's going to happen, because it's still all up in the air and we're all still kind of growing and learning alongside this. But that's essentially some baseline kind of input as far as what I know right now.
I see, Sister Adriana, you have raised your hand. Do you have a follow-up question? Because you raised this on chat. Do you want to speak?
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I do have a follow-up question, if you don't mind. I'm sorry if this is not an appropriate place or time to ask this, but it is more in regard to that specific question. I'll give you an example personally. So my son's 15. We're starting very beginner level. It would totally be inappropriate for a 15-year-old to be in a room with kindergartners, physical, like 5-6-year-olds. So this is why I'm asking that very specific question. I also have another son who is ASD nonverbal, and I do believe he understands comprehension-wise some Arabic words. He can't necessarily tell you that, but he can understand them. So in light of that, I'm wondering if an organization like Mohsen, who deals specifically with special needs communities in many capacities, would be a branch to reach in any kind of Arabic speaking programs and or information. I also can share some other resources about other adaptive materials that maybe could be offered for special needs students. We have some special education teachers, paras, etc., in the greater community that could be a wealth of information on ways of communicating with those communities. You may not be ready for that at this time, but that is something to consider moving forward if you are.
Yeah, thank you. So I heard two things that you shared, Adriana. One was about your 15-year-old son going into kindergarten. That would never happen. Yeah, that wouldn't be appropriate. So you're absolutely right about that. In terms of like the grade levels, if like let's say it's a 15-year-old who's still learning beginner, it would be that program that they would have that they would teach. And because it's a public school, that differentiation is required. So just like any student who comes into a grade and doesn't know something, the teacher would differentiate and start building upon what they do know and how to intervene and have interventions to be able to grow that skill and that knowledge over a certain amount of time. And typically they're like 6 to 8 week interventions. With the point you bring about your other son with ASL, special education is a big piece of this opportunity with a public school. And so we would have programs and things that would benefit in that sense. But also you shared a lot of resources and thoughts. And I think that is vital to know about because we're not going to know all of that information. And that's, again, coming back to the community. Like, that's why your voices are going to be so important and to come and be heard, because you coming and sharing that, or even if you weren't able to come to the meeting, to write that in the form or in an email, those resources are going to be so important to be able to build upon and reach upon, including the people that you're talking about, like paraeducators and teachers. And so yeah, please, like whatever information that we all have as a community, that from your personal experiences, that is vast knowledge that I personally don't have. And so really bringing your voices out and shedding that information is going to be really important and valuable.
That's a good segue to the question. I'm seeing people joined late. What is the timeline to start the school? Which grades? How fast we can move? It's all about the community meetings that is going to happen on Wednesday. Show up. How many grades? It's about how many are interested, and how fast. It's about who's going to show up. How many students we have. So the district is interested, and the district is working with other communities as well. If we are all showing up, if we are all speaking up, showing what we need, this shows that we are engaged, we are committed, and inshallah we can all make this happen. Don't forget us in your dua, and make sure that you join the meeting on Wednesday, inshallah. Last but not least, the QR code shown on the screen, make sure that you scan it, join the WhatsApp group so you can get updates and you can ask a question there as well. Jazakumullah khairan, Sisters Sadin, for your effort. And Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Iman and Sister Sumaya Salam, for being the guardian angels behind this. And of course, it goes without saying, Brother Muhammad Bakr for taking us 11 years to be at this stage, and for the Tamkinius for helping us scheduling this meeting and coordinating. And of course, for all of you for joining. And I would like to thank you all on Wednesday when I see you there at the meeting, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan.
Me too. And thank you, Brother Adil, for facilitating and being part of the presentation today.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Sadi. It was a pleasure working with all of you.
Same.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.